Hey y'all, this is Jessica with the Army Wife Knitting Life podcast. And I am back. I am so excited. I have so many things to tell you and things to catch up on. So let's get all of our administrative stuff out of the way so that we can get to all the fiber goodness. First off, Army Wife Knitting Life podcast is a knitting, crochet, fiber goodness, military life podcast. If any of that sounds like you might enjoy it, welcome. If there's something that you're like, I'm okay with, you don't have to watch that section. Feel free. There is no obligation. You can always check something else out. There are so many knitting podcasts in this world that you can find one that fits perfectly with your taste and your style of podcast. So, admin stuff first. If you want to get in touch with me or follow me, I am Army Wife Knitting Life on Instagram, and I am Army Wife Knit Life on Ravelry, because Ravelry only allows so many characters for your username. So knitting got cut to knit. All right, let's move on to the next part. This is the graduation section of my podcast, which is finished objects. So I have a bunch of things that I have finished since the year started, since I last spoke to you. However, I'm only going to show you some of the most recent ones because otherwise we'll be here for an hour and a half just showing finished objects. That's a little much, I think. So, first off, I have two little hearts. This is the Little Hearts pattern by Teresa Fox, and I had a fuzz. I'm sorry, it was going to annoy me. This is her, it's written for worsted weight yarn, and so this is in Caron 1 pound worsted in the Ocean colorway. And I have this one, which is a little bit smaller. This is Sock Yarn Hill Double, and it is Opal in the Rock and Roll Jungle Toucan colorway, I think. Not 100% sure. It's the first German yarn I bought when we moved here, and unfortunately the label has been lost, long gone, since I knit a sockhead slouch out of this originally, and so this is just scrap at this point. But these are going to be turning into ornaments for the year, and which is, I'll get into why I'm doing ornaments and how many I'm going to do a little bit later. I've also recently finished a pair of socks. This is the Desert Vista Dye Works in the Bad Romeo colorway. This is her sparkle base, which I believe is called Zien, Z-I-E-N. And absolutely love this color. I chose this because my husband and I recently just got back from Italy, and we saw the Montague home while we were in Verona, and we also saw Juliet's home also in Verona. So Romeo and Juliet, it kind of felt right to choose this colorway to do, because I am participating in the 4th annual Desert Vista Dye Works monthly sock club knit along. So this is my April colorway. I have finished all of the months so far. However, all of those pairs of socks are currently hiding in my sock box. If you are interested in seeing them, they are in my Ravelry, and they are also on my Instagram feed. These sock blockers, which I absolutely adore and are beautiful, are from Alex's Workshop. It is an Etsy shop. You can find them. Just type in wooden sock blockers, or you can type in Alex's Workshop on Etsy. They'll come right up. I was a little hesitant to order from them at first because they're in the Ukraine, and I was worried about how they're going to get here, what kind of quality it would be, if I would even be allowed to receive them, since it's a country that a lot of times we aren't always, there's a lot of things going on with Ukraine, and so I was just unsure. But I am so glad I took the chance. And I am absolutely in love. I call these my Hamilton sock blockers because of the star. And, of course, Hamilton's logo, the musical Hamilton, its logo is also a star. I have another pair of Alex's sock blockers, and they are hearts. They're currently hanging up right here on my wall. I'm not going to take them down, though. I am sure that you will see them at some point. Just not this episode. So I have those done. I also finished recently. Oh, those, by the way, are the Vanilla Extract Sock Pattern by Risen Knits. I start out with 15 stitches. I move up to 27 stitches in the toe, and then I use a Fish Lips Kiss Heel. I believe I knit them on a 1.5 needle. I'm sorry, I'm a little out of practice, guys. So if there's any questions you have about any of my projects, it'll either A, be on my Ravelry, or please feel free to comment below or message me. Probably Instagram is the better place to message me, since I'm on there multiple times a day anyways. But just let me know, and I will be more than happy to answer your questions if you feel I've left something out. So, I mean, it has been a while since I've podcasted, so it's going to take me a minute to get back into the practice. The next thing I finished was this beautiful, beautiful Apia cowl. And it is not blocked yet, does not have ends woven in. I have a pile going. Well, currently I don't have a pile going because the things I'm showing you are the pile of things that need to be blocked with ends woven in, because it can be a little tiresome to have to block one thing at a time. I'd rather just have a big block party. Quotes. Air quote, of course. And my friend Georgianne. Hi, Georgianne. I promise I'm not fangirling over you. You're just my bestie and I love you. She sent me this pattern when she saw that I was not happy with the socks that I was knitting with the yarn. And I couldn't tell you what was wrong with the sock, but I just knew that it wasn't right. And so I ripped it all out while I was chatting with her. And she sent me this and said, try it with this pattern. So I'm sorry, I can't remember the designer of the Apia cowl, but it is Appia is how you spell Apia. Feel free to look it up on Ravelry. It is a paid for pattern, so I'm not going to go into pattern or secret sauce. But this is a Roman stripe, I believe she called it. And when it is stretched out, absolutely gorgeous. I love it. This yarn is dye for knitting in the Snap Crackle Pop colorway. And it was a very interesting construction because it starts out like a semicircular shawl. And then somewhere along the line, you eventually join it in the round. So I'm very excited to start wearing this. This is for me. I plan on making quite a few more, and then you might make it as Christmas gifts for family. I don't know. Shh. None of my family watches this besides possibly my cousin and her husband, and they're not knitters. So if you are watching, hi Serena, hi Perry. They have their own YouTube channels, by the way. My cousin Serena, who I adore, grew up with her. She does speed drawings on YouTube, and I'm trying to find what her channel is. So give me 1 second here. I should have prepared better for this, but I didn't. So if you go, I'm looking. Okay. This is really simple and I feel stupid now. Her YouTube channel is literally her name. So it is Serena, Serena, Alamshahi. Well, this isn't her married name anymore. This is her maiden name. And it's Alamshahi. She does speed drawings of Pokemon normally. She is a wonderful artist. She's having fun drawing, and she tends to put out videos about once a week. She also does Pokeball drawings, and there's just a bunch of things that she draws. She's fantastic. She takes requests, so if there's one you want to see, let her know in the comments, and she tends to get over to it. And then with her husband Perry, they tend to do reviews on games. They do silly little challenges for couples. I think there was a tape challenge or a pie challenge at one point. they're just fun. They're super cute together, and I love them so much. I got to be in their wedding last year, and I flew all the way across country while super sick. I was in the ER the day before, and I went anyways because I love them so much, and I'm so happy for them. They've finally had a year of marriage, and I couldn't be happier. They are awesome together. Perfect. And anyways, back to knitting content. But I also finished, this is something that was on my to-do list for a very long time. I started this project in October on the 3rd, and I only know that because I took a picture right when I casted it on, and I finished it yesterday. And for information purposes, today is April 17th. So it's been a while, and I lost mojo on it because I was cruising for so long. And then I think I started a sweater just to get it on the needles, or a pair of socks, and I never made it back to this shawl. Keep in mind, it also has not been blocked and ends have not been woven in. But here's a close-up of the colors. This dark gray is Knit Pick Stroll Fingering in the ash colorway. And this gorgeous variegated is For the Love of Yarn UK in the Wibbly Wobbly Timey Wimey colorway. It is not available for ordering, I believe. It came in a mystery box in March of last year, and I ended up with 2 skeins of it. And I am so glad I got 2 because it is absolutely gorgeous. But I'm pretty sure most of you know this is The Girl from the Grocery Store by Joji Locatelli. I absolutely loved this pattern. It was a joy to knit. I plan on blocking this as soon as I can and wearing it everywhere. Gray is a color I wear all the time, and this will add a great pop. So that is it for finished objects for my graduation section. Now we are moving on to the in training section, the WIPs, the works in progress. This is what everyone wants to see, right? First project is the Catch Some Waves Knit Afghan. My mother started this Afghan a while ago, and she had called me asking for help because while she knits, she doesn't know all of the stitches, and so she FaceTimed and said, hey, can you help me? I said, sure, send me the pattern. This is a free pattern, by the way. It's on the Karen Big Cakes label. It's also on yarnspirations.com, so I'm not giving anything away. You can look it up for yourself if you want the pattern, and I definitely recommend it. I love this pattern. Okay, and I had to make sure it's on the right side before I show y'all. This is it. It has a garter edge and a garter border at the very bottom. Chevrons. Super simple. I love it. And I'm knitting this in the Karen Big Cake Pepper Cream colorway. Takes about 3 balls. I'm in the middle of the second ball. And my friend Georgianne sent this to me because Michaels won't send stuff overseas to APOs. Which is fine. I understand that. But it's a little frustrating because they had rejected an order I had made with a bunch of my friends. And I said, okay, is it just because it won't go to, you don't ship to APO? And they said, yeah, that's a big part. And I said, okay, well, what if I ship it to my parents and they can send it to me? And they said, unfortunately, since your credit card, which I have to use to order online, says that you're purchasing this while overseas, we can't accept your order. Kind of made me upset and kind of turned me off of Michaels for a bit. And I love their stuff. They're the only ones that sell Karen cakes. So I can't get it over here, though, very easily. But my lovely friend Georgianne, who is host, as I've already said, I love her. She's fantastic. You should definitely check out her podcast. She is the Stitching Plaza Knits podcast. And she's Stitching Plaza on Instagram. And she has an Etsy shop, and you're going to see some of the things she makes in just a little bit, I promise. But she sent them to me as a help. She's a former Navy wife. Well, is a Navy wife. They're retired now, though. And so she understands that sometimes it's a little harder for me to get things, and she's always very willing to help out and accommodate. I love her, and I appreciate her so much. She's very quickly become an amazing support system for me. And before I completely lose my voice or start to cough, I'm going to grab a drink. Today is brought to you by Cola Light. I allow myself one of these per day. I'm almost at the bottom for today's, and the rest I drink is water or tea. I'm trying to get into tea, and it's very difficult, but I'm getting there. Okay. Another whip. Oh, this is what that pepper cream looks like, by the way. Another whip is in this lovely bag. You can't order this one. It's from our local grocery store as a reusable tote bag. The store is called Edeka. I love Edeka. They have great things, and it helps me be immersed into the German culture here. And this is just holding a bunch of granny squares, because I'm in the midst of making a Boba Fett blanket for my brother-in-law. So you can see a few different colors in there. There's gray, there's a charcoal gray at the bottom, which is much darker than this one. There's some red and yellow for Boba Fett. I've already actually completed one of those, but it got sent out to a friend of mine, so I don't have it to show you, but the picture is on my Ravelry. I will very soon post it on Instagram. However, I want to make sure that she gets it first before I post it, because she can see on there. So, the next project, I'm trying to go through this quickly because my husband's going to be home soon, and it gets really loud when he's here. So I'm sorry if I'm talking quickly. I'm going to try and slow it down, but also still try and get things done. This is the next thing I'm going to show you. This is a Stitching Plaza bag. This episode is also brought to you by Stitching Plaza. Cola Light and Stitching Plaza. I feel like I'm on Sesame Street. And this bag holds more granny squares. But these are itty bitty, because they are also for a Christmas gift. And all I'm going to say about it at this point, because the lovely family, Serena and Perry, that if they might watch this, they interact with the family that would be getting this gift. So for now, I'm just going to say it's a Christmas gift for my family. And as we get closer and I start joining things together, I might show you guys it. But all of the squares in this bag are white. This bag, by the way, is huge, super roomy. I love it. And it has over 300 of these little squares in it. Has a nice little handle, very sturdy. And I always keep her business tags on because the back of them has Kitchener Stitch on it. And then it has all of her information on the front. So, I love her bags. Most of the bags that I use are Georgianne bags, as you're going to see. So there's that one. This one is a start. Barely started, because tomorrow we get to have this fun thing called doing taxes. And yes, I'm aware it's after April 15th. But when you are stationed overseas, you get an automatic 2-month extension, because things are just so busy that you don't really have a lot of time. And it's a lot easier to go when there's 2 of you than it is to get a power of attorney to do it by yourself. So tomorrow is our tax day. And we're going together. So I needed something vanilla to knit on. So, Georgianne should recognize this. She sent it to me because I bought it from her. Not because anything else. She was destashing. I purchased it. I took advantage of this fantastic yarn. Okay. Also, she sells these stitch markers in her shop as well. She has this one in a Darth Vader, which is part of her May Bag Club option. I promise this is not a sponsored podcast. I just really love her stuff. And I have a lot of it, as evidenced by all these bags. And this is just plain sparkly black from Neely's Knits. And I am making Sally, the Nightmare Before Christmas socks. These are, again, Oh, this is a Knit Picks needle. I have a bunch of different sock needles. Most of them are from Knit Picks. Whether they are their wooden ones or their metal, doesn't matter to me. Although I have started to lean towards having metal needles for socks. Because I travel with socks, and if a bag gets squished with metal needles, I feel a little better than if I had wooden needles, which can easily break. But this bag is also, I believe, still available in her shop. It was part of the Harry Potter 3-month club for the bags, and she started to sell them all individually. So, and owls are my absolute favorite. I adore them. I love this bag. I love the project. It's all Georgianne all the time in that bag. And then this is not a whip. It is a planning in the stage future whip. Future cast on after I finish some other things. But this is, guess who? Stitching Plaza in her Expecto Patronum bag. I believe she only has one of these left. So if you love this bag, go and get it now. She offers in both zipper and drawstrings. That's the inside, by the way. She always has lighter lining fabric than the outside, because then it's easier to find your project on the inside. That's what this one looks like for reference. The Beauty and the Beast one is a bright yellow, I believe. But this has yarn from a Homespun House. It was also a sock once upon a time, but I also wasn't happy with it. This is the Laser Tag colorway with gold stellina, not silver stellina. And I really appreciated that. It's not often that you find gold stellina in yarn. And this is going to be the Changing Staircases pattern. That's the plan, at least. Okay. That's all of the knitting that I have to show you. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about my knitting goals. And I started out with this list at the beginning of the year. I wanted to do 12 sweaters, 24 pairs of socks, 24 hats, blankets, scarves, not hat, blanket, scarves, hat, cowl, scarf, mittens. I wanted to do 4 blankets, 4 shawls, a crocheted stuffy for each month, 36 ornaments, and 1 new technique each month. I've been working away slowly at them. I only have 6 sweaters left to do because I created a bunch of baby sweaters for our next door neighbor. And then I have a cardigan for me and a sweater for me. I only have 11 pairs of socks left to do. I still have to do 22 hats, cowls, or mitts, 2 blankets, and I'm going to have way more than that because I have 2 blankets already on the needles or on the hook. By the way, for those blankets that I'm crocheting, I use a K-hook. This is my favorite brand of hook because they're soft. They don't leave cramps or anything when you spend hours and hours crocheting. And I have quite a few more blankets planned for Christmas, so there's going to be more done. I still have 3 shawls to do, and I have 1 shawl on the needles, but I'm not going to show it to you yet because I haven't worked on it in months, and it'll be on the next podcast, I promise. And I only have 34 ornaments to do because I already have these 2, if you'll remember. I haven't crocheted any stuffies yet. I'm going to get there. And I've learned about 4 or 5 new techniques. And I'm keeping track of all of this in my agenda. This is purely for knitting. I have all of my goals written up front and my theme for the year, which my theme is more. I have child's handwriting, ignore it. I wanted more time with family, more focus on health. I wanted more planning in my life. There's the goals written out. I told you I have child's handwriting. No judging. And what I do is, here's the month of January. I write down the day I finish. I start things and the day I finish. And then over here, as I finish, I write down what it is, what I learned for the month, And then down here, I total up what in each category I finished. So I highly recommend this system. It lets you see things on a physical level. You can also plan things out. Like you can write down, say in May, I want to crank out 12 hats. I could figure out, okay, I want to do, I don't know, I haven't looked, 4 weeks in May. That means I need to do 3 hats each week. So you can write down when you start and finish each hat and plan that way. And I really like having that visual. Ravelry is nice, but I can take the planner with me if I don't have access to internet. Also, Ravelry has the challenge tab going on right now. I totaled up my goals for the year, and that means I have to do 104 projects. So far, I've completed 26. So I'm a little behind, but I'm 25% of the way done with my goal. So that's a start, right? At this rate, I might get 75% done, but also a lot of those are also little tiny ornaments like this. So I might make it. I really want to try because last year I felt, part of why I didn't podcast is I felt like I wasn't getting a lot done. And with the move and not having access to my stuff, it happens. And then Christmas came around and I wanted to give things to my family, but there wasn't anything handmade that I wanted to give because the things that I made, I didn't really plan ahead of time. I was just making them to make them. So it would be a great hat for my cousin, but wasn't in his color. Or the shawl is beautiful and the pattern is gorgeous, but too bright or too dark. Or it would be the color is perfect, but I chose the wrong kind of project for someone because my aunt loves sheep. And I made this beautiful sheep-themed hat, but she lives in San Diego. Well, actually, she lives in Bakersfield. And it's too hot to wear a hat in Bakersfield. It doesn't get that cold. So it was the perfect project, but not for where she's living. So it was kind of well-intentioned. And it was the right color for her, too. It was just not the right thing. So that's why I wanted to be more planned and focused this year with specific goals so I can have quantifiable things, easy to mark and say I'm done. And I have Christmas planned for this year because last year I sent all of my stuff out and it got stuck at customs. I finally got it all back in February after mailing it in October. And it is now on a slow boat back to the States trying to get to my family. And it's the middle of April. And they don't have their Christmas gifts. I'm a little frustrated. And they're a little frustrated. I don't blame them, though. But I have been out and about. This is the chatter portion now. So if that's not for you, you just want knitting. It was great to see you. And I can't wait to talk to you next time. And if you want to stay, hooray! So part of the good thing about living in Germany is we are so close to so many different places. Since moving here, I've been to Berlin. I've been to Rotenburg ob der Taube. I've been to Munich, and I was there over Christmas time with my friends who came to visit for Christmas. And we walked around Main downtown. We saw the Glockenspiel clock, which is well known. And then we also spent our morning at Dachau concentration camp. It was a really solemn experience. It was really eye-opening and harrowing. But I don't want to say we enjoyed ourselves there, but we came back with a new appreciation and thirst for justice for these people that were wrongly imprisoned purely because of their beliefs and their religious values. And Dachau wasn't solely for Jewish prisoners. It's also for religious prisoners as well. There's actually 3 chapels that are on the grounds that have been built since then. And there's one off the grounds, just outside the gates, for all of the people in commemoration of those that had passed there and were imprisoned there. And it was just a very interesting day. We've also, those are just the places we've been in Germany lately. We've also been to Garmisch, which is, again, also in Germany. My husband's been to Oberammergau, which is where Neuschwanstein is located. We go out around the towns here a lot. But the main thing is we're close to different countries too. So in January, we went to Prague. It's only 2 hours away from us. It's absolutely beautiful. It was really cold. There wasn't a lot open, but we had a fun time walking around. And we went to the Church of St. Nicholas. So I joke that we went to Santa Claus's church. I had fun with that one. My nephew is amazed that Santa has a church dedicated to him. And I don't have the heart to tell him it's actually not Santa Claus. It's the saint that inspired Santa Claus. We just got back from Italy, as I said earlier, with my Desert Vista Dye Works colorway. We were there for Easter, and we went to Riva del Garda, we went to Verona, and we spent a day in Venice. Absolutely gorgeous. We are in love. We want to go back to a little further southern in Italy, because northern is very different than the south, just like in the States. And we have plans to hopefully go to Malta in the summer. Excuse me. We also want to go to Poland this summer and possibly Spain. And my friend Mallory and I are also looking at going a few different places for fun too. So he has been very busy. We didn't expect when we got here. We knew it was going to be busier than we were used to, but I think he works 7 days a week, so it took some adjusting time, which didn't really help with the depression aspect of my mental health, because I was kind of stuck here alone, because you don't want to go out and explore on your own, and you also kind of want to explore with your husband or your loved ones when you're here, and I wasn't getting to do that, so I was in the house a lot by myself. But I've made some good friends here now, finally, so I get out again, and the sun is really helping because it's really dark here for a long time in the winter. And now the sun is up by 6, and it doesn't go down until about 9 o'clock at night, which is doing wonders for me. So that's just basic. That's my life in a nutshell. I've made friends, I go travel, and I have fun. I fall in love with this fantastic wine here. It's called Hugo. It's less than $2, and it's the best wine I've ever had. And let's see, I've been watching a lot of podcasts. I've been watching The Defiant Knitter, which is Shelby. I've been watching Stitching Plaza Knits, of course. I've been watching Knitter's Gotta Knit. And I've also been watching The Crocheting Whovian. So these are just a few of my favorite podcasts. I've also been watching Riverdale, and I've become slightly obsessed with the show. And I have to wait until Thursday mornings to watch it here because Netflix will update, and we don't have US Netflix. It doesn't work here for us. So we have the German Netflix, and I watch it in English, of course. And then I start to watch it in German, and then I get frustrated when I don't always understand everything, even though I just watched it in English. But I've been watching a lot of Riverdale. I've been watching season 2 of Outlander, and I've been rewatching Friends. So that's kind of all that's going on in my life. I want to know what's happening with y'all. What have you been doing while I've been gone? Do you have a thing that you think that I should try? What do you think of knitting goals? What are yours for the year? And just, how are you? I have been off the face of the planet for 4 months, it feels like, even though I've been on Instagram, and I've missed everyone. So that's all for me. But do what makes your heart sing. For me, that's 2 sticks and string. Bye. Hey y'all, I just also wanted to point out that I'm going to add a few photos from some of our travels while here so that you can kind of get an idea of what it looks like. These pictures are going to be from Italy and from Prague, not other places in Germany. See ya. I hope you enjoy.